very adamant of getting a deal done with Ezekiel Elliott. And that's because Dak Prescott cannot win you the games consistently. Dak Prescott is not one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He is a very good quarterback. But when he is the reason that you have to win, it's not going to happen. And I'm telling you that because I watched last year when Zeke got hurt. And all of a sudden, Dak was the man. And he didn't perform as the man. He plays very, very well with a very good offensive line and a very good running back. And the stats are showing it. But all you have to do, and it's a big all you have to do, it's easier said than done. You stop the run game of Ezekiel Elliott and make this a one-dimensional team. As you said, a better defense. By the way, the teams that they played, Dallas, 1-8 so far. 1-8.
But you act like it's I got to tell you something. I got to tell you something.
Go back for a second.
Your words just hurt my spirit. It hurt my spirit. I mean, that hurt me. Because I got to tell you something right now. I think you're being I cannot believe this. One damn defending LeBron James, another damn defending the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what the hell is this world coming to? But I think that you are a bit extreme. Let me explain why. I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you.
Go ahead.
Let me explain why. I understand anything that you point to in regards to him in the past. Because in the past, Ezekiel Elliott was there. You were asking him to play a specific role. Clearly, the offense was tailored to Ezekiel Elliott. Not to say that's not the case now, but with the advent of Kellen Moore, you know, as your offensive coordinator, you got rid of Scott Linehan now.
Right.
You've gone to a more aerial assault. You're asking him to do more. As a result, he's completing nearly 75% of his passes, and nobody would question that he's a top 2 candidate for league MVP honors.
The only reason you can air out as you're doing, same thing that happened with Goff when Sean McVay got there, is because you have an Ezekiel Elliott. Just like Goff had Gurley back there.
But wait a minute, Jonathan, you're acting
hold on a second. Wait. When you talk about the top quarterbacks in the NFL, when I watch film and I have to get ready to play one of these guys on a Sunday, I'm saying, man, and I don't care who's the running back, man, he is a problem. He's a problem. He's a problem versus coverage.
When you watch film on Dak Prescott, what are you seeing from? You told us how you would game plan for Daniel Jones. What are you seeing? How would you attack it as a defender?
Now, so if I'm going to take it back, I know you want to go in the past. If you're going this year, the first thing you still have to do is stop Ezekiel Elliott. That's one.
Okay.
After you do that, all you need to do is roll your coverages. And that's easier said than done. I know I have to simplify it on TV, but you start rolling your coverages and make him pump the ball, he's done. He's going to start taking off and running the ball. He's not a Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Philip Rivers that's going to sit there and say, I don't care what you're throwing at me. I'm going to make these throws.
Stay right there, because Tom Brady and Russell Wilson weren't that when they first got to the league either. And those are the guys that he
But you're proving my point. My point is that right now he's not the elite quarterback.
Those are the guys that he most reminds me of. They came in the league with that feeling they gave you. They were game managers who were big on third down, students of the game, all that stuff, but they weren't going to beat you. They just weren't going to hold the team back from beating you. But they developed into something else.
But
why
Max,
are you?
You're proving my point.
Hold on. You're acting like it's static at a time when Dak should be improving year over year. He looks improved this year, and you're going for a sample back to what he's been the first couple of years, where he was ticking up. Why can't you say he's making a leap this year?
Because a lot of people have accelerated where he is, as opposed to saying where he really is. As you just said, Russell Wilson, year 2, year 3, we said, oh, he's a really good quarterback. We didn't say he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. No one said that about him. We're trying to say that about Dak right now when it's not the case.
I got a question.
That's why. I
don't think you can say that this year so far.
He's getting better.
I had to play this because it's like, what the F am I watching?
I hear where you're coming from, but I'm going to put you on the spot since you're going to stick out your chest saying this kind of stuff right now.
I love it.
Here comes the Cowboy fan in him.
Would you pay Zach? Would you pay Dak?
Yes, I would. He will be the highest paid quarterback at some point. Yes.
You would pay him. And
I would pay him.
I'm saying, if it were you, if it were your money, would you give him that money?
I would pay him because he completes this up.
You would pay him #1 money while you're saying that he's not a top 10 quarterback?
Yeah, because
he'll develop into it.
Exactly. Because what did we just say? I said I agree with you that he is ascending and getting better, correct? Just like Goff was ascending and getting better.
God.
Goff got paid top-tier money, right? So why would Dak not get paid top-tier money? That's exactly the same thing.
I'm with you on Dak, and I've had the exact same point of view. He's going to get there.
Correct.
However, what can you take from this year? Don't go back to last year and unpack it that way.
They're trying
From
to toss
this
him a
year, that makes
bone.
you say, based on how he's played, that he's still not that guy.
Hold on, piggybacking off of Mac's question, just so you know, their first game was against the Giants, second game against the Redskins, third game against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
1-8 should be really 0-9 their opponents.
That's
He can't help that.
That's
All
right.
he can do
I'm
is
just telling you the talent, that the level of defense that he's playing against. Now, your question, you're talking about how can
he prove it to you? In other words, all you're saying is he hasn't proven it that level of ascent is real, right? Because of the teams he's playing, because of what's around him.
No, we're talking about two different things. The level of ascent is real, and that's why I said, without a doubt, I would pay him, and he would be the highest paid quarterback at some point. What I'm talking about is, where is he ranked right now as far as quarterbacks? There are many quarterbacks that you would take. If I told you take Breeze over Dak, you would say yes. If I said Phillip Rivers over Dak, you would say
nope.
Okay, Rivers over Dak.
Not right now.
I would take that.
Wow. I saw Rivers, who I love. I'm rooting for him to win a Super Bowl. I saw him like a deer in headlights against Belichick's defense.
That's not my reason.
At Foxborough,
That's not my reason.
last year,
wow.
he needed to play big.
You should
But now you went back to the past.
You just brought up Belichick as the reason.
Yeah,
Stop
no.
it.
Well,
Here's the deal.
you gotta win.
I would say this to you. This is why I wouldn't take Rivers. My issue with Rivers has always been his immobility.
Okay.
And the side on as accurate as he can be. I know that brother can fling the football. Please don't get me wrong. But he's no Dan Marino. He's a little bit shy of that. And I just look at him as somebody you can game plan for easy, because I think when things break down and break apart, Phillip Rivers has no choice but to throw the football away. Dak Prescott can move the chains with his feet.
Okay.
And that matters to me. That's the only reason I'm saying that.
I
know he's not the thrower. I know he's not the thrower.
That's fine.
In his
We're talking
biggest
about
games,
Rivers.
he hasn't played big enough.
As we're talking about Rivers, there have been times when he didn't have a running game, correct?
All the time,
And there were times when he still performed very, very well at a high level. Yes or no?
Yes, correct.
Have you seen that from Dak?
Excuse me?
Have you seen that from Dak?
Not yet. We don't have the evidence of that yet.
You had the evidence last year. He had every opportunity to show that.
Dak last year, you and me are on
The year before, when he had every.
Okay, I'm going to end it right there. Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. I see Dallas Cowboys. I see Mr. Anonymous. I see Marcelo B. I see Joseph Heatherly. I still say Hartley, but it's Joseph Heatherly. How are you doing? Junior Topper. Inquest 1, Purge Squad, that's right, Art Alexander, Victor, stay away from my daughter, stay away from my daughter, Gerald Beasley, how's everybody doing? Let's, oh, we're already open for business here. Let me wake up the football gods up here. You know what? It's good to be here. I'm sitting here, I heard this earlier today on Will Cain's show, where he was actually interviewing John Vilma, and apparently John Vilma wants to work for ESPN, because the best way you can get onto one of the talking head shows is by talking about Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Literally, your audition is, can I look like a fool? Because if I look like a fool, I'll make a name for myself and people will want to put me on. It's not that they're looking for you for your expertise. It's because you're saying stuff that is so crazy out there, so haterish. That's right, haterish. We're coming up with a new term. He is haterish to Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. He'll make the rounds. And it's true, because he was on First Take. You know, we're watching him here on the Joe Boo Sports Report. You know, he was on the Will Cain show. See, that's the thing. That's what I'm beginning to understand. If I want to be on ESPN, all I got to do is come out and say Dak sucks. And I guarantee you, they'll put me on. Don't you think so? I think that's the way it is. Oh, the football gods, they're awake. They're wide awake. Let me make sure I show you. Look, they're awake. I love being able to have my, be able to move the cameras and stuff like that. Now, before we get into everything here, I got to tell you guys something. I don't know if you guys noticed. Have you noticed there's a little something different today? Have you noticed something a little bit different today? Look around. Oh, Lordy. Rashid's back in the house. You know, they got to win. So all of a sudden, he's talking about being 2-2. And you may get that, because if it's up to the Redskin players to say Jay Gruden's job, he's already fired. Scooter quoted my good night, the party's over, Mark. Really? Scooter Magruder? Okay. Well, send me the clip on that if you can. I guess that's imitation is the highest form of flattery. And it's funny because I see stuff that I do, and I kind of wonder myself, am I being arrogant to think that somebody's copying what I do? Because I swear, I've seen stuff on First Take. I've seen stuff on Undisputed and stuff, and it's kind of like, I said that 2 days ago. But anyway, that's right. The countdown clock is back on. I debated in my mind whether or not I wanted to do this or not. Little Drip Tune, you may have said it. I can't see all the comments. They're flying through, and I'm trying to keep my thoughts together. I understand I'm getting old and getting dementia setting in stuff, so I do my best, but I'll take your word for it. But we are 127 days, 3 hours, 49 minutes, and 10 seconds away from the Super Bowl. 3 hours and 49 minutes. Is it that late? Did I mess up? Oh, let me check. That doesn't seem quite right. 3 hours. So what is it going off at 10 o'clock? No, that can't be right. I must have messed it up. Okay, so we're going to have to reset the clock. Countdown to Super Bowl, Sunday on February 2nd. Oh, I bet you that's not East Coast time is what it is. I bet you that's what it is. Okay, somewhere around 127 days, I'll get it straightened out. Because it can't be 127 days, 3 hours. Because that would be midnight. Oh. Maybe they're counting down to midnight. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I got to get it to the exact kickoff. So anyway, it's 127 days until Super Bowl Sunday. How about that? Okay, so I debated on doing that because you remember when we started the clock, we had 226 days. And counting that down was agonizing, and it was like 226 days. And then you look at it and you see 127 days? Ooh, that's it? That's all that we have for the season? Wow. And here we are already week 4. Ugh. That sucks. But I wanted to do it. So I had to do it. We had to get that straightened out. And so we did it. So shout out to the Super Bowl. Hopefully we'll be playing games meaningful until then. And I got to tell you, before I get into our Cowboys, it's amazing what a victory will do for a team. Because you see Rasheed there. You see Giant fans are now coming out a little bit proud now. Yeah, we got a victory. We got Daniel Jones and everything else. And we're playing the Redskins, the slump buster. We might go 500. We might be 2-2. We could actually be tied for second with the Eagles on Sunday. So they're coming back around. They're talking. We're talking. And now the freaking Eagles. Oh, my God. The Eagles, they have literally gone crazy. Everywhere I go, we got Eagles crap. Purge Squad, thank you very much for that super chat. I appreciate that. Send me a picture of where the helmet is at your place. Okay, so here we got Eagle haters
not
everywhere.
winning the division.
Or not?
Or not winning the division.
We got to play this.
Hey, Cowboys, listen to this. Cowboys going to be 10-6 at best at the end of the year.
And that's not winning the division?
I don't think that's going to win the division. Listen, I said at best. At best.
Okay.
They 3-0 right now. Nobody's really talking about the issues that the Cowboys have defensively. Look, Dak doing this thing. They 3-0. They starting out hot, but they got 0 interceptions in 3 games. They got 5 sacks in 3 games. That defense is not cutting it. And Dak not going to throw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns every game. They're going to have to give this man some help.
The Eagles got 3 sacks on the season.
But listen to what I'm saying, though. Everybody knows that Philadelphia is known for creating turnovers. If it's one thing that they going to do, they're going to create defensive turnovers. They're going to make some plays for their offense. Dallas has not done that yet. And you said they haven't played anybody. We got to see if that defense is going to be able to help Dak. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to fold.
And so obviously you think Philly wins the division.
I think Philly's going to win the division. I think Dallas starts hot. They've started hot plenty of times before. You know the Dallas and Eagles rivalry is just a little bit different. So it doesn't really matter. Like, if Philly's not playing great right now, when they play Dallas, they're going to be ready to play. So that matchup is going to be important.
So, whoa. Former cornerback of the Eagles. So he thinks the Cowboys will go 10-6, but they won't win the division. The Eagles are 2-2. So you're thinking that the Eagles are going to win how many more games? With that defense? That defense that could not stop anybody? It's not like Aaron Rodgers have been playing like Aaron Rodgers. They don't have a – Aaron Rodgers led the team in rushing at 35 yards. They don't have a running back. And if it weren't for a turnover in the red zone, Aaron Rodgers not being able to get it into the end zone, and a punt return that got you into the 35-yard line, it wouldn't have been close. It would not have been close. So, what? Okay. One more thing here, too. And I haven't seen too many of the trolls yet, but they've been hitting me all day long. I got ones that have been coming out saying all kinds of dirty, disgusting things. EDP's biggest fan, dude, is literally just come out and he's just talking some, just some like, dude, come on, man. Come on, man. But even last night, one of you great fans sent me this clip.
I think it was beneficial for us to be able to just put those behind. It's hard to focus with my fans right now. But
whatever would you be laughing about right now?
I don't know if they can hear that at home. But.
Well, if you can't hear the Eagles fans, which is about 15 rows worth of fans.
Maybe more.
What the heck? Okay, let me see if I got this straight. You guys finally get a good win. I'm not belittling you guys. The Dallas Cowboys are really in the psyche of the Eagles. Do you guys think about the Eagles this much? Literally, you just won a game against the Packers, and the only thing you can do is Dallas sucks. Dallas sucks. Well, how about saying the Packers suck? Because you beat them on their turf. You're 1,200 miles away from Dallas? What the? Are we literally in your mind that much, Eagle fans? Philly 500. I don't know if you've seen him today because he's in the garage, as he puts it, because he says his wife won't let him smoke in the house. And I swear, I'm telling you, it looked more like the crazy house. I think he was really locked up. And it was like he won the Super Bowl. I'm like, dude, Eagles, have you won games before? Act like you've been there. What the what? Literally, have you seen anybody so happy over one victory? So I'm trying to figure out, like I said earlier, I'm trying to figure out, does that say more about the Eagles or more about Green Bay? Because I look at both of those teams and I see there's problems for both of them. Aaron Rodgers can't do it all by himself. He's got no running attack. Their defense, you can run the F on them. And when you think about who the Packers have played so far, you kind of makes sense. They played the Bears. Bears, they're not getting anybody offensively. They played Minnesota. Minnesota's not playing lights out offensively. And Denver. So this is actually the first team with an offense that they faced, and you saw what happened to them. So, yeah, exactly, Joseph. They won because Green Bay lost it. Now, don't get me wrong. The Eagles, they fought their hearts out. But that kick return ended up turning it over. So, be happy, but, it's just one game. So for our Cowboys, here's the good news. Amari Cooper, his ankle seems to be fine. He'll be playing on Sunday, and he is, of course, tied for the NFL lead in touchdown passes. Of course, only because he's throwing the ball to himself. It's not Dak Prescott throwing the ball to him. But I'll say this. I'm actually happy about John Vilma saying what he did. I'm really happy about it because it seems like whenever somebody talks about the Cowboys, talks about Dak Prescott, that they end up looking like a fool. Josh Norman basically said he's not impressed, and Dak Prescott literally pushed his ass out of the way. We know Jalen Ramsey, a guy who the Eagles want, by the way, talks smack about Dak Prescott not being an elite quarterback, and, what happened to him? Didn't Collins talk about Dak at one time, too? It seems like whenever these guys talk about him, like Teddy Bridgewater, I'm trying to think. Good Lord. Bart Scott. Bart Scott had his whole thing about Dak Prescott. I'll take, I'm just having a brain fart.
With intangibles that we saw win the Super Bowl.
Brady's got intangibles. I know he's
great. He's the greatest of all time.
But a lot of it is his intangibles. A lot of it with Joe Montana was his intangibles.
But Brady doesn't need anyone else on that offense to play well. Dak needs those two other guys.
He does. He doesn't throw it like Brady, obviously.
He needs a perfect situation to be a great quarterback or a second-tier quarterback. I'll let him walk and take Teddy Bridgewater, and you'll have a better football team. You give me Teddy Bridgewater right now, and the Cowboys are better.
Shiny suit man delivering.
Every time I see that clip with Jenna and they're talking about Dak needs those guys. You know what? Aaron Rodgers needed some of those guys last night, don't you think? He could have used a running back from the 1-yard line. Maybe they would have won. I can't say that he exactly put the team on his back last year and got them to the playoffs. So can we bury that whole thing of, Dak Prescott needs guys. Everybody freaking needs somebody. And it's funny because now we're going to see about Teddy Bridgewater because they're talking about, we got to make sure we keep the playbook for Bridgewater so that way he plays within himself. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care if Drew Brees is gone or not. New Orleans is a tough team. You can look at the statistics of New Orleans, and in series, it's 17 victories for us, 12 for New Orleans. And last year, you remember, New Orleans was on like a 10-game win streak, and DeMarcus Lawrence kind of came in there and said, it's hard to be great when you basically get punched in the mouth. And he proceeded to punch them in the mouth. And it was a defensive struggle, and it may end up being kind of that. But New Orleans defense is one of those opportunistic type defenses. They're a bend, don't break. Statistically, this is one of those things that I tell you that you have to dig a little bit deeper. You got to pull out your magnifying glass here and be CSI Joe Boo and really look at the numbers because when you think about the teams that New Orleans has faced thus far, they played Seattle, which is 9th-ranked offense, the Rams 16th ranked, and Texans 17th ranked. And they didn't exactly get blown out by those guys. And not having Drew Brees, your offense isn't keeping the ball as much as they have been. Now they've gotten 3 fumble recoveries that they've gotten, so they're getting the ball. They're bending, they're not breaking. Points-wise, they're giving up a lot of points. They're averaging 27.7 a game. And points-wise, they're 26th in the NFL. Total defense, they're giving up about 436 yards. So, in retrospect, our Dallas Cowboys are 3rd in points given up in 14.7 and 15 in total yardage given up per game. So, our defense, of course, has been playing not so great offenses. I mean, we had the Redskins 23rd, Miami 31st. I could have sworn Miami would have been last. But surprisingly, this actually amazed me, Giants, and Rashid, you'll like this. Your offense, in total offense, yardage, you're 7th. That's actually a lot better than what I would have thought that the Giants, and that's one of the things you hear, You hear them talk about how bad the teams are that we face, but the Giants are actually 7th in total yardage in the NFL on offense. Not what you expected. But again, you're going to look better against those guys. So it's also Sunday night, New Orleans, after a weekend of drinking. That place will be lit. But I think our Dallas Cowboys have something going for them. My quarterback, he understands this. I think this whole team understands this. Nobody is ever going to give you a break. Nobody is ever going to give you the benefit of the doubt. The only way you will get something is by going out there, grabbing it, and taking it. It's us against the world. And I think the more these guys hate on Dak Prescott, tell him how much he sucks, how bad he is, it's amazing. Brushes it off. Keeps on working every single day to get better. And I look at this team, talent-wise, I will take the 53 guys we have on this roster and I will put them against anybody else. Flat out. L4G, Custom Fabrication, thank you very much. What's up? Law Nation in the house. Law, I missed your text message last week, man, when you were going to call in. If you do want to bring that back in, let me at least turn on the Skype. Turn that on here. I would get my people to do that, but I ain't got no people. It's just me. Okay. All right, Law, if you want to hook up on in the house tonight, feel free to give me a buzz back in. All respect is earned, never given. Yeah, but see, here's the thing, David Sanders. Some guys seem to get a whole lot of respect that haven't earned anything. We don't even get the benefit of the doubt. That's the thing that kills me is, okay, I get you. John Vilma doesn't even realize that it was 2 years ago when Zeke was gone. And even with Zeke gone, we were 4-3. We had Zeke first 7 games of the season, and we were 3-4. So clearly, it's not just Zeke, and that's the thing that drives you crazy when you hear Jenna say Dak needs those guys to win. Well, he brought up Phillip Rivers. I think Phillip Rivers had LaDainian Tomlinson, right? Didn't he have LaDainian Tomlinson? One of the best backs in the history of football? What did he do with them? How many playoff games has he won? How many Super Bowls did he go to? Am I wrong? Am I wrong on that? And we can go back to Tony Romo. Tony Romo was great too, but how many Super Bowls did we get with him? It's about a team concept. And all this crap that you keep hearing that, this guy can put the team on it. No, he can't. Aaron Rodgers couldn't do that last night, could he? Could he? At home, 422 yards. He could not do it by himself. He needs people around him. And that's the thing that's kind of funny. The difference, and everybody keeps saying, well, Dak's learned so much. Well, I don't know that it's Dak's learned so much as it is that the Cowboys have also learned a lot. Because we kept trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Because Scott Linehan, I don't know how, or how we believe so much in Scott Linehan. If you go through his coaching track record, it wasn't like he was a Super Bowl winning coach, that he was on all these great teams. He was part of Minnesota with Mike Tice and got fired. He went to the Rams at the end of the greatest show on turf and literally annihilated a wide receiver, Hall of Fame wide receiver. Sounds funny, doesn't it? Right? And ended up getting fired from there. And then he went to Detroit. And we figured, that's the guy we want for offensive coordinator. All he did was basically say, I got a great offensive line and a great back. We're going to run that guy straight ahead. We're going to dare you to stop it. That works in college. If you got the better stuff, better players. But this is the NFL. Teams figured out how to stop that. You're not giving your team an advantage if anything, you were hamstringing them because you limited Des Bryant's routes. 5 routes. That's all you get, Des. We're going to keep you on the outside all the time. Okay. Cole Beasley, you're in the slot. That's what you're going to do. Zeke, we're going to put 2 tight end sets. We're going to run the ball. No creativity whatsoever. And you can look at the Rams under Jeff Fisher, that Jared Goff looked like a straight-up bum, didn't look anything like a quarterback, with an old guard coach, Jeff Fisher. And then you get Sean McVay, who comes there and says, you know what? We're going to figure out that you're better off in play action. We're going to do things that are suiting your abilities along with having this back. Jared Goff isn't winning games on his own. They didn't get to that Super Bowl because of Jared Goff in the playoffs because he played like some doo-doo. It was the running backs. That's what beat us. Dak Prescott had a better game than Jared Goff. But their running backs got 230 yards? But we didn't hear that, well, Jared Goff needs those guys. So that's where we are with that. So it's just kind of crazy to me where we sit on that. So the good news is Xavier Woods was back at a full participant in practice today. That's right. We're talking about practice. Not a game now. We're talking about practice. But he's back, so he only missed 1 game. Tavon, I hope I said it right because I keep saying Trayvon, and everybody kills me on it. Tavon Austin, of course, he's actually back at practice. He's out of concussion protocol, which is great news as well. And Tyrone Crawford, he is still out, of course, with the bursitis in the hips. Antoine Woods is close, but he's not quite there just yet. So we're getting healthy. But I think, don't worry about being late, Salam. Appreciate you being here at all. So we're getting healthy, but I think what our coaching staff and our training staff is looking at is, let's give these guys a little bit more time to heal so that way they're truly ready to get back on. We have the benefit of having some guys that are really in great shape that can actually step in and play. It's not like we went from Tyron Smith to Chaz Green. We're like, Tyron, I don't care what shape you are, just get back. We've got guys that can step in and play. Oh, and also Zach Martin, of course, is back. Now, the thing we have to still kind of worry about is he's still kind of got that back kind of thing going on. You don't know if this is going to be something that we're going to have to just start dealing with on a regular basis. But he's back, point blank. Luke Gifford will be back soon. Okay. What's up, them eyes, though? I'm just living the dream. Just can't wait for Sunday night to get in here. Jared Goff still looks well, I agree. And great. That's the thing that you always hear about how great Jared Goff is. Here's the thing. If you listen to John Vilma talking about, Dak Prescott, and he's not really, the quarterback and stuff that, he believes in. Carson Wentz is only averaging 240 yards a game, 60.7% completion, 6.6 yards. That is dink and dunk. Has anybody heard anybody saying about Carson Wentz this year is dinking and dunking? Has anybody heard that? Because 6.6 is dinking and dunking. And he's got a 95 QBR. Jared Goff, 245, 62 completions, only 7 yards per completion, and a 93 QBR. Dak is at 306. Now, I know we played some weak competition. We'll see. This weekend will be a true test for Dak Prescott, and we'll see where it goes with there. I think that he's going to actually do pretty well. I don't expect us to get like we've been scoring against the Giants and everything else. But I believe that we're going to get this victory. Hope we're going to get this victory. But it is the NFL. You are playing on the road, and you're playing against a team that is trying to hold serve that's a bit motivated on defense. Here's the thing, Trent. We're saving Joe Boo's rum. Listen, he doesn't get to drink anymore during the week. We release the beast only on Sundays. So that way when he gets it, he gets that immediate boost. Yeah, it was pretty quiet all last week. Yeah, and I'm actually surprised because I thought for sure we'd have more of those eagle trolls, those cockroaches in here today, but they seem to be kind of staying a little bit quiet. Now, earlier today, I had more eagles all over the place talking to me. You're talking about, geez. God, now I'm having a brain fart now. Yeah, the Saints quarterback, they're not doing a whole lot offensively. They won against Seattle mainly because the defense stepped up and they also had a special teams touchdown. Dingbat Philly. Okay. Yeah, the Eagles are they're going crazy in Philly right now. JD status. Yeah, you're right. That dome gets crazy there in New Orleans. Dak has a clutch genes. Let's go, Jason Garrett. You know, the Redskins right now, and I'm curious how I don't have any Redskin fans that come out anymore. I don't see Skins fan all day. I miss that dude. He's actually really, really cool people. And Ed Oliver and stuff, I think they're in hiding. I'm curious how they feel about Jay Gruden. Are they ready to move on from him and get somebody else, or they realize that it's just not Jay Gruden, it's the system all the way around? The problem for the Redskins, as well as the Giants have been, they have not been able to draft well. And they've relied on free agents. And when you rely on free agents, you end up spending all your money, and you're looking at guys that are a short-term fix. So when you end up paying Josh Norman a boatload of money, he may be good. Oh, there's my cousin Daniel Peterson. First real game, cuz we played 3 playoff teams. Skins fan. Okay. You know, Daniel, are you look, Daniel, are you happy about the idea of losing Jay Gruden? Or are you going to be sad? That's what I want to know from Skins fans. Are you hoping that you lose to the Giants to get rid of Jay Gruden and maybe just start all over? Because I got to be honest with you, man. Last Monday night, I went to a charity benefit for Adrian Peterson. And the place was full of Redskins. And you know what it was like to actually go into a place full of, Josh Norman was there, Colt McCoy was there, and of course Adrian Peterson was there. I saw, Fred Smoot, who was lighting them up on the way out. I mean, he was lighting up the Redskins. But to go in there the day after the Cowboys kicked that ass, it was cool. But I wanted to meet Adrian Peterson, so I went up to him. Now, Lauren, who's one of the people that work with him, said Mark's a Cowboy fan. And I was like, oh, geez, you're ratting me out, trying to get my ass kicked up in here. But talking to Adrian Peterson, it was really cool with him talking about growing up in Texas, how he grew up being a Cowboy fan. But I swear, looking at him reminded me of the movie Get Out. You know, Get Out, when he's looking at the black guy who's the waiter or the butler or whatever, and you just see that teardrop come down his eye because it was like, get me out of here. I want to leave. I swear that's what Adrian Peterson looked like. His face lit up when she said that he's a Cowboy fan. Oh, man, and he was just going through all the things he did in Texas growing up, being a Cowboy fan and all that. And it just looked like, I want to go. I want to leave here. I want to get out of this dumpster fire. And that's where you feel bad for somebody like Adrian Peterson. That all that he has given to the NFL, he deserves better than what he's getting being a Washington Redskin. And that's the honest truth. To have your last couple of years of your career end up being there doing that, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. But I want to know from Skins fans how you feel about your team, or are there any Skins fans out there actually claiming to be Skins fans anymore? That last play interception was interference. Speaking of interference, does anybody actually know what pass interference is? Because I swear both of those ones that were, hell yes. So, Daniel, you want to basically fire, well, I know you said fire everybody, so I guess that's the beginning of the house cleaning process. Oh, our Super Bowl bottle of rum? Oh, okay. that is actually right there. That is actually brought back from Puerto Rico. Joe Boo's private stock. Uh-oh, camera messed up on that. Wait a minute. Wi-Fi must be on the wrong Wi-Fi set. Sorry. But actually, that is my let's try it again. That is a bottle that we bottled ourselves in Puerto Rico at the Bacardi Distillery. And hopefully, come Super Bowl, we will be opening that bad boy up. That's the only way that bottle is getting open, is if we go to the Super Bowl. You don't want to know what pass interference is anymore? Well, I got to tell you, there were both times it looked like those were pass interference plays to me. And neither of them were called. I mean, even Philly 500 was like, oh, man, we got hit on that one. We're going to get the pass. And he's like, I can't believe it. We got a break on that one. But the Eagles are definitely, I just hope we destroy them in October 20th. And I'm looking at being down there for that game. So any of you guys that are interested in stuff, go ahead and make sure you go to Cowboys Experience and stuff. And but tickets, I'm going to tell you, tickets are going through the roof for that game right now, just like the Green Bay game. Right now, everybody wants to be in Dallas seeing the Cowboys. Well, Bobby Ice, I'm hoping that they have a great game. If we can continue to play offensive like that against them, I'm curious to see what they'll have to say on Monday. The helmet to helmets, well, you know, those were some brutal hits both ways. Now, you know, the Eagles player, of course, ran into his own guy, but, man, those were just some rough ones. That's where you look at it and say, damn. I just didn't even want to look at those over again. Well, hello, Miss Jackie. How are you doing tonight? I guess we'll see you later. I was watching film today, and this game by game, I'm telling you, this team is focused. I think they really are. Like I said, with Dak Prescott, this was kind of interesting. I'm going to play a little piece of this right here. I think this is the clip. Hold up.
That's what he told me.
I've never known less than I have at this just intro to this story.
Well, that is not true.
And Matt.
That's not every day.
I'm still getting over Nick's laugh 2 minutes ago.
On to the Cowboys. It's been a relatively easy ride for Dak and company this season. Their first three opponents combined to go 1-8. This Sunday, they face a tough test in New Orleans. Even though the Saints won't have Drew Brees, and even though Dak's playing some of his best football, he is not taking the Saints team lightly.
Always fun, knowing this environment, knowing the Superdome, knowing how their fans are going to be, the intensity, the atmosphere. I'm excited to go in there just with my team, the brotherhood we have, and us against the world mentality.
All right, Saints and Cowboys, what's the key to this game, Coach?
Well, you look at New Orleans' win last week, and
James,
to me that's a little
thank you
bit
very
like
much.
Philly's win last night. That's a win based off resilience. That's a win based off having a veteran locker room. That's a win of guys rallying around Teddy Bridgewater. And you heard his comments after the game and how much it meant to him and how impactful it was and how he appreciated the guys that he was playing with. And you love to see that in a locker room because you know that when things get tough, when there's challenges, those guys are going to rally behind him. And I think that's what they're going to have to do. There's going to be a tendency to have him do more this week. And I don't think that's the way you want to go. I think you still want to put it in a position where you're not losing the game first. And I talk about it all the time, more games are lost than they are won. You can expand the game plan. That's fine. But make sure it's still a manageable amount and you're not asking him to do too much. And allow the rest of the group to support the effort. And really, it comes down to Kamara. And if he can be anywhere near as productive as he was last week, that's going to be the issue. If Dallas can eliminate that, it's going to be really hard for New Orleans to pull out a win.
Coach, I got to disagree with you because I believe with Dallas's linebacker play, they're some of the best tackling linebackers that we have. And typically, Dallas is a good tackling team. Because Kamara, most of his productivity is after first contact. If you watch in games, watch most of his big plays, he bounces off 2 or 3 guys. They can't get him on the ground. So for me, because I don't believe they're going to get that type of yardage, I do believe Teddy's going to have to win a few of these games. They're not going to be able to play conservative. I can understand in Seattle with the crowd, knowing Seattle's not going to score a whole bunch of points against our defense. Now against the Dallas Cowboys, can I think that defense is going to hold them under 24 points? It's going to be hard to hold them, so I need to throw the ball down the field. I want to measure it by big pass plays, over 15 yards. If they can get 4 to 5 of those in the game from Teddy Bridgewater, it's going to open up the field that then I can give Alvin Kamara the football. He needs to touch it 20 times to be able to take some of the pressure off. And I do believe that Taysom Hill plays a significant role as a dual threat quarterback with Sean Payton at home compared to what they did. I thought he'd play 20 snaps at quarterback in Seattle. Sean Payton went with much less than that. I do believe that could be at home, Coach.
And I agree with you. They need to expand.
All right. And here we go. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Dude, don't do that to me. Okay, we're not doing a call-in show. Dude, stop.
And his package, but the tendency from a coaching perspective is when you have a win like that, you go a little too far the other direction. So yes, expand it some, but don't get to that point where you've seen Sean Payton's game plans. They're gigantic, and if you go in that direction, it can be overwhelming. Give him another game of here's additional things that you can do. Here's additional things we can collectively do, but don't go to that other extreme where now there's a ton of thinking and not a lot of playing fast.
I want to pick your brain on something. I want you to put on your defensive coordinator hat, if you don't mind. If you're playing a quarterback who last week didn't throw a single pass more than 15 yards in the air, if you're Dallas's defense and defensive coaching staff, and you think New Orleans is going to have a constricted field, that they're not going to do what Chris says they should do, that they're not going to be trying deep shots down the field, how can you take advantage of that defensively? How does that give you an edge? Because you have same 11 guys, but they have to cover less space. So from a defensive standpoint, how can Dallas take advantage of Teddy Bridgewater's lack of arm strength?
Well, where you can get in trouble sometimes with that is especially in the DB room. Because the DBs are watching that, and they're watching those short throws, and they're all sitting back thinking, oh, I'm going to go get this one.
Okay. Law, were you calling in? Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was calling in.
I had this fan from New Mexico that was calling me last night, and so I thought it was actually, first I thought it was you, but then it was him, and it was like, don't call in because it rings on my computer and everything else. How you doing tonight, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing great.
You know, the Eagles fans have come back to life, in case you hadn't noticed. They have been trolling the hell out of me today. I hadn't seen them in the last couple of weeks, but they seem to be back and in full swing and wanting some of Dallas. Do they want some of Dallas?
Man, you talking about the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
This is the thing, and people that don't understand football, they get lost in a lot of things. And I'm not trying to say I'm cocky or anything, but anytime you pass for 422 yards and you got the ball within the 5 2 times, and you refuse to run the ball, and I've seen the national media give up all type of excuses, but that was the Aaron Rodgers team with one wide receiver that was able to put up those amount of yards and those amount of numbers. Can you close your eyes and imagine with the Dallas Cowboys, you got Amari Cooper, you got a Randall Cobb, you also, by the time that we would have to play the Green Bay Packers, you would have a Devin Smith that's even more active, and also don't let Tavon Austin get all his player legs in front of him.
Yeah.
Do you think that if he was able to carve up the Eagles like that, I meant to say, if he was able to carve up the Eagles like that, don't you think that we can do the same? And then on top of that, we have a Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they could not cover it. I mean, they signed Orlando Scandrick today, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, Orlando, he was with the Redskins there for a minute last year. Dallas Diehard, thank you very much for the super chat. But I don't think he played any last year. I think he got released by the Redskins early in training camp. So you're talking about now a guy who hasn't played for over a year and hasn't played significantly well in a couple of years. That's how desperate they are. Of course, Philly 500 last night, he's like, let's go get Jalen Ramsey. I'm willing to give up 2 number ones for him. And I think that guy would be actually a team killer.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey, if they're not winning, then Jalen Ramsey, he's going to show up and do his diva show, you see. But Jalen Ramsey is a dog, though. He's a grittish, grimish type of cornerback, and I think that he would be a good fit for the Eagles. But I don't want to see that to happen, though.
Well, no, I don't want to see it happen either. But to me, you know who he reminds me of? He's the defensive version of Odell Beckham.
Yeah, you're right on the money.
Think about it, though. Remember when we were playing him last year? He had talked about Dak Prescott in the offseason, and we were kicking that ass.
Getting all into it.
He just sitting there like this, because it's like Odell when they're winning. Look at me, I'm the greatest wide receiver in the world. When we're losing, next question, I don't remember. And that's exactly how he's acting. And the whole thing, now in Jacksonville, where my baby mama's getting ready to have a baby, so I need that time off. Tom Coughlin is I think pretty much done with him, so he's trying to force his way out of there. But if that's your mentality when things are not going right, well, let's say he does go to Philadelphia. And he is not the be-all to save that season for him. Couldn't you see him doing the same thing?
Yeah, I can see him doing the same thing or worse. Yeah.
So, Dallas Cowboys FN 73, Lord Brunson is saying that the Eagles are now going to beat everyone that the Cowboys play and beat the Cowboys and Patriots and win the Super Bowl. And let me have some of what he's smoking, man. I'm sorry. I see a whole lot of problems with the Eagles, but forget the Eagles right now. We've got the Saints this weekend in New Orleans on Sunday night. They are hard to beat in there. That dome will be rocking. They will have plenty of liquid refreshments with all those fans in there. They'll be ready to rock and roll. What do you think is going to happen in this game? What's your prediction?
Well, I look back at the Saints versus the Seattle Seahawks game, and they won that game, but it was a very weird game because I don't think that the Seattle Seahawks were ready. They were slipping all over the field, and they didn't have the right size cleats. And then on top of that, I just don't think that Russell Wilson can throw a wet ball. Remember that with Troy Aikman, he had those issues of throwing the wet ball.
400 yards, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but it was kind of like during garbage time.
But it was the punt return that went for a score, and also they got a defensive turnover that was a score too. So they got 2 touchdowns cheaply.
They did. They got 2 cheaply touchdowns, but Russell Wilson game is play action. Establish the run. That's why they've been leading in rushing for the last few years. Establish the run, and then they play off of that. And by the Saints were able to shorten the field with their punt kicker, Thomas Morstead, to pin them deep. They couldn't get out there. They couldn't get out of the box there. They couldn't get out of the run. They couldn't get out of the passing, and it just looked sloppy for them. So they was able to get a fumble return and also a kickoff return, and that's where the bulk of their money came from. Teddy Bridgewater, if you think Dak Prescott dink and dunk Cowboy Nation, my goodness, Teddy Bridgewater, he won't throw it deep to save his life.
Dallas Diehard, thank you very much for that super chat. So he thinks you look like my man from Ballers, the wide receiver, Denzel's son. Actually, you know what? You do look a little bit like between that and James Harden. You definitely
James Harden, yeah. When I was at the airport around here, I get free everything because I think I am Denzel Washington's son, and I was sitting there like, come on now. But I take the priorities.
I wish I had that kind of problem, but see, I only get mistaken for Sinbad. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Oh
my goodness.
All right, so you don't think that New Orleans is going to be able to do much offensively. I think that we can do some stuff, of course, against that defense with the offense, the way we're being able to move around. Everybody keeps talking about how Dak Prescott is just so much better. Do you think it's that Dak Prescott is so much better, or do you think that the game calling is a lot better?
It's a combination. Just like Dak Prescott said in his interview, he was talking about that, hey, it's a combination of growth factor, me getting comfortable with the system, and then also me being relaxed. And on top of that, if you throw in the fact that this guy, Kellen Moore, he don't think like the old school Scott Linehan. You see. Sometimes you have coaches. Look, my coach when I was growing up, he didn't believe when I ran track that you lift weights during the off season, right? He said it's going to make you too bulky, it's going to slow you down. But I was saying, Coach, I'm still a 4'4" guy, you see. But he was sitting there like, nah, you're going to slow you down if you start lifting weights. So sometimes coaches still look at it like this. They look at it like whatever worked for them during the past, they don't want to change. They don't want to figure out new things. And that was Scott Linehan problem.
Oh my God, he was a dinosaur.
To me.
Yeah. He truly kept living at that 3 yards in a cloud of dust mentality that we're just going to man up. We got a great offensive line. We're just going to exploit that and just keep running Zeke Elliott in there. And he never really looked at trying to get very much advantage. You know, you think about, you wonder if Dez Bryant had had better coaching, could Dez Bryant have been a lot better in a different offense when he was younger? Had he, running more than 5 routes and things? Had he maybe been made to run in the slot some, to change up the coverages and stuff? But, it's too late, of course, for all that now. But I look at it now that Kellen Moore is using all of the weapons, and by literally spreading this ball around, the defense just does not know where it's coming from. And I think as long as they continue to do that, as long as Dak Prescott can keep the reads and get rid of the ball quickly, that I think that they're going to be okay. But me personally, I think one of the biggest changes, and I don't think you get enough credit for it, is actually having Jason Witten there.
Yes, when you have old reliable, somebody that been in the trenches before, experience, man. You see, old brooms, new brooms can sweep the floor, but old brooms know how to get the corners, you see. And that's what Jason Witten can do. And here's the thing on Dez Bryant. If Dez Bryant left the organization without lashing out, without calling Sean Lee Snake Lee, without talking about the coaching staff and Rich Ripple and all those boys, right now you'll see the news of the Cowboys released Noah Brown and they added Dez Bryant to the roster, you see. But there goes, I'm going to tell a lot of young folks, man. It hurts me when I see Dez Bryant working out with D-Rob on Instagram. D-Rob is the wide receiver coach guru, right? The route runner guru.
Yeah.
It took Dez until he pretty much at the tail end of his career to reach out to the guy, and he was only 3 or 4 miles away from his home.
And you think about because what most people don't think about is realizing Dez was such a specimen that he could just muscle up and just out-jump people, outrun people and everything else. But it's when you get older that route running and things come into play. See, a lot of people, I know my man Mythbuster, Okoye, went through and said, Dak sucks. But see, Dak was different than Tony Romo. Tony Romo was more of like a street type of quarterback, okay? We're going to draw it up in the dirt, and, I can buy some time, and I know, once Dez gets free, I'm going to get him. But to me, Dak was always a precise passing glove. I know where you're supposed to be. I'm going to deliver the ball. And you notice when you see the plays now, thus far, Dak is getting his reads, he's doing that, and boom, he's throwing to that spot, and he's expecting that receiver to be there. Amari Cooper is that guy who's right there to catch it, as well as Randall Cobb. To me, those guys are more tacticians and fit Dak's game better than what Dez did. Because Dez might be, right here this time, he might run the same route. He might be 3 yards past on the next one, and then, he'll run the same route. This time it's 2 yards shorter. He was never necessarily in the right place every single time. And I think that was part of the problem with Dez and Dak not getting through there.
Yes, indeed. If you look at Dak Prescott, he's from Louisiana. He was part of Peyton Manning's camp growing up. And on his interview as well, he was talking about the fact that, and Peyton Manning is a very methodical passer of the ball. And not saying that Dak Prescott is Peyton Manning, but he attended his camps growing up, right? And then one of the guys that he said he looked up to and he always tried to mimic was Drew Brees. So that's funny. He didn't mention Tony Romo. And this is no shade or salt at Tony Romo, but Tony Romo game is a whole lot different than Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that what Dak Prescott going into his 4th year, and I know you've been saying the power of 4, right?
That's right.
Everything is working out because his mechanics are better. I think that we got to give some credit to John Kitna for working on his footworks and things like that and his throwing mechanics. And then shout out to Kellen Moore for not being so predictable as well.
Yeah. I think all of those things have been like the perfect storm. I think the Cowboys, to me, it's amazing because when you think about where we were at 2015, beginning of the season, we had Tony Romo. We were thinking that we got a couple more years. We had the best offensive line of football. And you were saying, okay, we got a window of a couple of years. You look at where that roster was to right now, we have turned over this roster completely. We're one of the youngest teams, and then all of a sudden, we've rebuilt without feeling like we've rebuilt. You look at the Redskins, you look at the Giants. Those are teams that are literally rock bottom that are trying to rebuild now. We never got to that position. And you keep looking at what the pieces we've been able to add. Who so far has been your biggest surprise on this team? I know who I got as my biggest surprise so far.
Man, the biggest surprise has been Lyle Collins. And I know that Pro Football folk has been putting them all at high in the sky, but they don't show their work. So we really can't lean on Pro Football Focus. We got to trust what we see with our eyes, right? So I look at Lyle Collins and the fact that he's been pancaking people on the edges and just playing solid and not having a lot of holding calls. I like that aspect of it. And the other person that surprised me, believe it or not, is it was on I got to say this, guys, I got to say this. Dak Prescott, just keeping that even keel. You see, that surprises me. Although we saw a little bit of this last year after we picked up Amari Cooper, but it surprised me that he's continuing to keep that same energy.
Yeah. Peoples Aguilar, thank you very much for that super chat. There's nothing in the smoker right now smoking, so we're good. But I appreciate it. Well, and I forgot about Lyle Collins. So I'm curious, though, because Vosh wanted to throw him off a cliff. I wonder, is Vosh feeling better about him, or you think that this is just smoke and mirrors? I got to get my son there, Vosh, to see what he thinks about him. But to me, I thought Tony Pollard was going to be pretty good, but he is a lot better than what I expected. He adds a whole nother dimension to this team that I am just amazed at how well he's been playing thus far. I think having him and having Zeke Elliott basically getting about 18, 19 carries, I think that that's going to bode well for this team because it's just like a totally different game. He's like a receiver. He's like a scat back. He's just like the whole package right now. I love that completely. The other person I will say is Robert Quinn coming out last week. I think he had, 9 quarterback pressures? If he continues to play like that, I think DeMarcus Lawrence is still really getting into his groove from having the soldier surgery and stuff, that thing could all of a sudden start really turning around. A lot of people have been talking about our defense and saying that we're not, our defense is not that good and this, that, and the other. What do you think about the defense? Because I think they're actually playing better than what people are giving them credit for.
Well, fourth and points allowed is not something to sneeze at. People got to remind themselves of this right quick. Byron Jones didn't play all preseason, all offseason. He wasn't out there in Oxnard. He was on the ropes most of the time because of the surgery situation. And then if you look around the corner, number 90 did the exact same thing. He wasn't out there. And those is just a reality of it. We want to be able to say, okay, this guy's supposed to do this and that guy's supposed to do that. And on top of that, if Robert Quinn broke his hand, for crying out loud. So he didn't get a lot of reps.
And suspended for 2 weeks, too. So and he's just coming back. And, of course, Tyrone Crawford had the hip surgery as well, and he's still dealing with the bursitis. So you're looking at some guys that should be rounding the form. Now, I think that Tyrone Crawford is kind of chomping at the bits. I think Michael Gallup is chomping at the bits. But I think the Cowboys look at it and say, we're in a little bit better position that we don't have to rush these guys back so much, which is something that's rare. I think back to when Tyron Smith went out and we had Chaz Green out there. It was like, Tyron, you got to get back out there. I don't care how bad you are. We need you that bad. So this team, to me, seems like they're in a totally different place than where they were. What is your biggest worry on this team right now?
Well, I just got to look at this team like this. We started off slow, and what I'm looking at with the Saints, they're going to try each and everything to start off fast. Remember this, Sean Payton, he got big cojones. he would
Onside
kick. Look, I'm just gonna say it. He would do an onside kick in the Super Bowl with the starting play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Sean Payton knows Jason Garrett, you see, and Sean Payton knows Jerry Jones, so he's gonna want to rub it in Jerry Jones's face. So what he's gonna do is saying, hey, this team is a well-oiled machine. The only weakness that this team got is the kicker. We need to jump out quick. So we're gonna do an onside kick. We might do a fake punt. We might send a casino blitz. We might do something crazy. But here's the thing. Last year around this time when we played the Saints, whatever it was when we played the Saints, they had 7 sacks on my guy, Rain Dakota Prescott. Hey, because Rain Dakota Prescott held on to the ball, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but guess who hold on to the ball a whole lot longer than
Bridgewater.
And who got tiny hands?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy B. So what I'm looking at, I look back at the film, but last week, and this guy, number 58, Robert Quinn, the sack man.
Yeah.
He was coming around the corner, and he was almost there. He get there this game. And the game is going to change in those factors. So I'm not worried about the Dallas Cowboys versus the New Orleans Saints. I just know that we got to beat the officials. And we got to quiet down that noise. I hope they don't have none of that voodoo magic going on. That's all I hope.
Well, hopefully our voodoo magic's a little bit stronger than theirs.
Right.
I hope.
Joe Boo, what's up?
Yeah,
hey,
him and the
Purge
Purge Squad.
Mario Davis with Joe Boo.
Oh man, I tell you what. See, DeMario's a beast, and he gets that team fired up. So that's one of those ones that worry me. Is DeMario. So.
Well, before you go into that, let me tell you why. They got a guy that I wanted us to pick up, Sheldon Rankin. You see, that big plug in the inside. And then also they got a guy that's raw. I forgot his name is at the tip of my tongue. But he's also showing up this year. They got 2 first-round draft picks for him. They traded up to get him. He's a raw guy. Guys put his name in the chat box as well as Cam Jordan. So they got boys up front to allow DeMario and Alex, I forgot his last name, to fly out freely. That's why you're seeing all those boys making those plays out there.
Yeah, well, we'll see how they play with our offensive line, the way it's been playing thus far, being road graders pushing through there, and also having to deal with the multi-headed monster that we have. We're like a hydra right now with all the different people. I mean, you can't stop everybody. I mean, the fact that you got Zeke Elliott, and now you can throw Tony Pollard in there. Randall Cobb is looking like he did a couple of years ago thus far. You all of a sudden say, wow, that guy, Aaron Rodgers could use that guy right now. Of course, Amari Cooper, 4 touchdowns. And then, of course, can't think of his name, Wilson? Cedric Wilson. You've got all these guys, and then throw in a Blake Jarwin, who seems to be learning a lot from Jason Witten. And Jason Witten, I mean, you can't stop all of these guys. Right. When Dak is hitting 6, 7 guys every game, you can't key on one person.
You can't. You can't key on one person. And then you got, just like Sean Payton is a gambler, right? You got these other guys. Marshawn Lattimore, he's a bona fide gambler. Right. And if anybody want to make some money, I wish I was able to put this idea in y'all heads earlier. If you have a printing press, you're making a shirt with Ezekiel Elliott with the spoons, and you put a couple of apples in there, and you just do that. You see what I'm saying? That shirt will sell like crazy because it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott eating up those apples. He's going to drop that shoulder on him. He's going to let him know that Ohio State, hey, that was college life. Now this is back to the pros. And remember me when you played for the Giants, you see?
Diehard Dallas fan, thank you very much for that super chat. Yeah, speaking of the T-shirts, I've got a discount code up there right now. If you are on my homepage on YouTube, I've got a whole bunch of different shirts. Thanks to my man Brian SoCal, as well as Tony, who went through and could take the background off of there. We got, of course, CSI Joe Boo. We've got, of course, Cal Patty and some other ones and stuff. And so we're doing some other things to kind of change the look of the set here, because I want to go ahead and get this 4K television. So when we bring Law Nation in here, you see him in high def and all that. So that's what we're working on to build this thing up, because we literally have 127 days until the Super Bowl. And the season is going by fast. I can't believe it's week 4 already. A quarter of the season is already done. Now, see, the way I like to look at a season, I say we got to be 10-6 at least to make the playoffs. So I like to break the season down into quarters. And I say, okay, to get to 10-6, in one of the quarters you got to, or sorry, 2 of the quarters you got to be 3-1. The other 2 you can be 2-2. So I look at it right now. Right now we've done at least what we need to do on this quarter. If we can get one more victory in there, that means that we can go 500 the rest of the way to get to at least 10-6. Do we get that victory against the Saints? And what's your prediction for a score?
Yes, I believe we leave out of New Orleans victorious, and I think that Dak Prescott, he's playing inside of perfect conditions, perfect weather. He won't have all of that sweat. You see, he sweats a lot. Somebody need to figure out a way to stop Dak Prescott from sweating by it being a night game.
Sounds like a commercial endorsement to me.
Right. Y'all hit him up during the off season because he said he made it clearly that he wasn't trying to do no sponsorship for the spicy wings or what are spicy chicken nuggets, right? So my prediction is 28-13, Dallas Cowboys victorious.
I was actually going to say 31. 31-13 is what I was actually going to say. Because here's the thing to me in my mind. I don't know if the Cowboy players listen to the media and stuff. It's kind of hard not to hear some of this stuff. But the way they keep saying, well, the Cowboys haven't played anybody. The thing that's been amazing to me about Dak Prescott is it seems like he feeds off of what you're being told. Think about last year when we were going through the beginning of the year, people saying, well, Dak Prescott, he can't throw for 200 yards. All of a sudden, we started throwing for 200 yards. Dak Prescott, he can't throw for multiple touchdown passes. All of a sudden, then he's throwing for 3 and 4, touchdown passes and stuff. And it seems like every time they put this roadblock of things that he can't do. Well, he's just a tier 3 quarterback. Well, right now, you still think he's a tier 3 quarterback, or has he moved up some?
That guy moved all the way up. And that comes from being the younger brother syndrome. I had 2 older brothers that played in sports, and I'm the runt. I'm the smallest guy in the family. I'm the shortest guy, smallest guy in the family. My 2 older brothers, like 6'3" and 6'2", and all I heard was, hey, man, you can't dunk when you was at this grade, or you can't shoot the shot like him, or you couldn't run as fast as him. And every day, I made it my business to outperform and outbeat them, although I didn't let them see my face and my anger and my emotions, you see. And I believe that's what Dak Prescott do. He was the youngest out of his brothers, and he builds all this stuff inside. And he hears the stories. You can tell because it's just something about how he answers the questions with the questions, you see. Yeah. And he does a remarkable deal during these interviews. So I'm thinking that Dak Prescott, he knows what he got up against him. And I'm thinking that what he's going to do is he's going to showcase his talent out there Sunday night.
Well, this is what Dak always
But winners
says.
worry about winning, and losers worry about winners. So we're focused on ourselves in this locker room about what we need to do to get better each and every phase of this game and be ready for this week. And we're not worried about he say, she say.
That's what Dak said, right. I'm worried about winning. He's focused on the game. So that's what I love about my quarterback, that he is – I don't know if it's that psychology degree that he has that keeps him calm, cool, and collective. I think that definitely helps because Lord knows with some of our Cowboys Nation out there, you need to have a psychology degree to deal with the hate and everything else. So from time to time, I'm seeing it less and less on my channel and stuff, but there's still a few people out there that keep saying that Dak sucks. So I want to ask all you people who still think that Dak Prescott sucks, tell me what it is that sucks that he can't do. That's the only thing that I want to know. I'm trying to understand. We've been told that, he can't throw the ball downfield. Well, right now, he's averaging 9.8 yards per pass play, right? Can't have multiple touchdown passes. Well, he's got 3 a game on average right now. So we got that. To me, it looks like he's going through progressions and making reads, and he's not holding on to the ball. So I'm trying to figure out what is it right now that we look at and say Dak sucks on.
Oh, man, just like when the Eagles say Dallas suck. They love to have the D in their mouths. And I'm trying to keep it PG-13 if you know what I mean. But here's the thing. Here's a victory from yesterday that they just got. The Eagles versus the Green Bay.
Yeah, I played that clip, man. Yeah, they're up there screaming, Dallas sucks. Wait, it's like, you just got a victory. Why are you worried about us?
You worried about Dallas, and you don't play them to week 7.
It's crazy, man. We are literally in their psyche. They cannot function other than seeing Dallas Cowboys. What was funny is the last couple of weeks I hadn't seen very many Eagle fans in here other than Philly 500. Philly, shout out to Philly 500. We had fun with him last night, watching him live and die with that game. I thought he was going to literally have a heart attack. If the Eagles hadn't won, I think he might have ended up in the hospital. But he is a true fan. He will be there. But some of these Eagle fans, man, they are cockroaches that when shit goes bad, you don't hear anything out of them. They don't come out till they know that it's safe for them to be out. And when they come out, they are so full of hate and venom. I'm like, dude, come on, man. Do you get that on your channel?
Yeah, I get a lot of that. But this is the thing that I gotta point out, and I gotta pull up. And you might have went over this already because I know you're a very thorough and an analytical guy, right? There's a stat. It was on Get Up on TV for Carson Wentz. He's 24-6.
Oh, yeah.
When the Eagles rush over 100 yards, right? You went over that already?
Well, I did earlier today, but you go ahead. But this is amazing.
This is amazing. Now, listen up, Philly fans out there. Listen, Linda, as they say.
Philly 500, he's talking to you. Philly, he's talking to you.
Yes, when they rush for over 100 yards, 24-6. But he's 1-13 when they don't get over 100 yards.
That's because
what that means
Carson Wentz needs those guys to win, as Jenna says. And see, that goes back to this whole thing that there's a different set of criteria when it comes to Dak Prescott versus Carson Wentz. Because you notice how when they were losing, they were saying, oh, well, everybody's hurt. He's got nobody to throw to, And I was like, wait a minute. Didn't we kind of get killed with Dak Prescott? They said, oh, well, of course he's doing well. He got Amari Cooper. He has to have people around him. Great quarterbacks elevate the people around him. And I was kind of like, okay. Because you think about this, because I'm going to make Philly 500's in here. Shout out to him. And in case you guys don't know, I don't know how you couldn't know, James Hardy. No, I'm sorry. It's Law Nation here. Law Nation, of course, has got one of the best YouTube channels out there, man. He's putting in the work just like my man Vosh, just like my man Philly 500 and everything else. Philly, he is a true fan right there. I hate his stinking team and everything else, but he's actually a true fan. But here's what people fail to realize. When they keep talking about Carson Wentz was an MVP candidate, think about that year, 2017. They said that they had the best offensive line in football, right?
Right.
The running attack, I believe they were third in the NFL in running the football.
Third overall in rushing.
Their wide receiver core was a hell of a lot better than what we had, right?
Yes, indeed.
And they had a great defense, right?
Yeah. They had some good defense, defense that was not afraid to take the ball away. Yeah.
It wasn't that he was Aaron Rodgers that was throwing to nobody. He had a great team around him. I'm not making shade at it because you still have to be a quarterback who can hit those guys that are wide open. But it's a hell of a lot easier to hit a guy wide open when you're not getting beat the hell out of. And he had a great team around him, but they don't say that with him. Now we're just hearing, well, Dak Prescott, he's got the best offensive line in football. He's got Zeke Elliott, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, why is it that we get hit for these things, other people get credit for it? I just don't understand.
It's silly to me. And if you are an Eagles fan, and shout out to Philly 500, you probably woke up this morning feeling great. You feeling great.
Oh my God, you should see this video.
You feeling great. I'm like, great. Tony the Tiger feeling. But there's a small part of your heart knowing, because the Green Bay Packers lost the game more so than you all won the game. You see,
he
and you got to understand that, because when you down at the 5 yards from the goal line, money zone, and you got a quarterback who can run the rock as well, that can throw the ball, one of the best passes of all times, and you mean to tell me you throw the rock 4 times, 8 times totally? And I don't want to hear the stat of talking about where they was only averaging blase. The quarterback was averaging 9.3 yards per carry, you see, and that the reality of it is that the stupidity of the Green Bay Packers, you got 7 minutes left on the clock. You kick that field goal, and you trust your defense that everybody was saying that the Green Bay Packers got the #1 defense or the top 3 or top 4 defense. You trust your defense to get the ball back to the greatest quarterback of all time, and you would have put a little bit more pressure on Philly.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir on that one. But, you know, Aaron Rodgers looked like he could use a little bit of help last night. I'm just saying, you know, he didn't exactly elevate his team. And I'll be honest with you, I'm looking at both of those teams, and I'm like, neither of them impressed me. Green Bay can't stop the run. And Aaron Rodgers does not have a running attack. So if you can go ahead and put enough pressure on Rodgers, he can't take it all by himself. The Eagles, shit. That defense, come on, man. Philly. I know
422 yards. Then you went and pick up Orlando Scandrick.
Orlando, Philly, come on. Orlando Scandrick. Are you going to sign Morris Claiborne? You know, he's still out there, too. You can get the glass, man.
Orlando Scandrick is so trash. And then I hate to put this on your station,
Lordy.
Mark.
How trash is
But he is so trash that they will do better picking up Drea, his girlfriend or wife, and put her out there so she can distract the players, and that way you get a better outcome.
Oh, wow.
I'm just saying, Orlando Scandrick, man, he cost us several playoff games against Green Bay, of all people.
Ooh, wow. Damn. So I think what he's saying is, Philly, you're in trouble. Yeah, that's Philly says, yeah, he's crying for and you're really willing to give up 2 #1s for Ramsey.
In a heartbeat, if you Philadelphia Eagles, I'll say, hey, you know, if you have one of I've seen a picture floating around of they putting the goat helmet or the goat head on Carson Wentz. Now, it's kind of strange to me. You got rid of the only quarterback to ever win you a Super Bowl. Hey, Nick Foles. And he about to get Wally Pipp. So you might do a favor if when the Jacksonville Jaguars cut him, the Philadelphia Eagles need to hurry up and run to the phone and call Nick Foles and say, hey, what's up, man? You want to play with this Philadelphia Eagles again?
Yeah, well, you know, he's definitely broke down right now, so I don't know that he'll be able to help much at this moment. But the Jaguars, you know, I think it would actually be kind of funny because the whole Ramsey thing kind of drives me crazy. The Jaguars are going to want to try and get as much as they can. They want to ship him off someplace. They don't want to do him any favors, and they want to get as much draft capital as possible. Wouldn't it be funny if they ended up sending it to someplace that's like Loserville, and they went on and made the playoffs? Because you look at their division, it's not exactly, you know, the Colts don't have Andrew Luck.
True.
The Texans are kind of, you know, I don't know that Deshaun Watson is going to make it through the season as many hits as he's taken. And Tennessee, you know, they still have a chance to win that division. I think it would be justice for them to make the playoffs and him go someplace that doesn't. So maybe Philly is the place to go, Philly.
Yeah, but this is the thing, Mark. Not only have you got to give up all of those remunerations for Jalen Ramsey, you still got to pay him. He's still going to want 17 to maybe 18 million a year. And knowing him, he might want 20.
Yeah, and the Eagles actually don't. I think they've got like 30 million next year, but I think they've got a lot of people that are free agents and stuff. So, you know, we worry about where our team is, and we're going to have about 70-some million next year. It'll be interesting to see how that goes ahead and works. One other thing, too, the Washington Redskins, you know that they're basically saying Jake Gruden is on a very short lease. If they lose this weekend, he's out. You think the Redskins will get a boost from losing that guy?
I don't know, man. They let their best coach go, you see, and that was McVay. They let him go, and they have not been creative ever since then. Now, if they let Jay Gruden go, then the other coach would step up. Was this the offensive line coach?
Yeah.
We had him in our locker room. What's his name? I forgot his name.
Shanahan's son. He's with the
No, not him. Not Shanahan's son.
Well, they had McVay.
Callahan. Right.
Oh, Callahan. Yeah.
Callahan would be the interim. I think Callahan will be the interim. And I believe that those Washington team, believe it or not, and I'm not throwing any salt at them, they probably can rally around him. You know, he been known to have that little spark, and it'd probably be a good deal for them.
Well, you know, I think that team is just without any talent, and you know they're a rudderless ship, and basically they're a dumpster fire. So I don't think it's going to change one way or the other. You know, at least the fans might feel a little bit better because it's like finally we're doing something different. We're going to try and go ahead and get rid of it because he is so uninspiring. Jay Gruden, and I'm not saying that we got the best in Jason Garrett, but at least we've got good coaches that are around him at least now that you feel better about. Now, I'm going to bring up a couple of crazy stats that I hate to bring up, but under Jason Garrett, every time that we have won the first game, we have not made the playoffs.
Wow.
And also, no coach that's been with the team over 5 years has turned around and gone to the Super Bowl without going to one before. Can we buck those two trends this year with Jason Garrett?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Here's why. I'm thinking that Jason Garrett is not really the head coach. I think that he's a wonderful motivational speaker. I think that he delegates pretty well, putting in an assigning and sitting back and looking at Chris Richard coaching up this team as it relates to the secondary, and looking at Papa Marinelli coaching up this team as it relates to the front four, and the brilliancy of my guy, Kellen Moore, coaching up the offense. So I'm thinking that if you look at it, it's a perfect storm for Jason Garrett. He don't have a contract on the table, but he's looking back and he's sitting there like I'm saying, and he's looking at Sean Payton and he's saying like, hey, Sean Payton didn't win since 2010 or 2011, something like that, almost a decade ago. What's the difference, you know? Give me the opportunity, Jerry Jones. And I know that it's kind of crazy for me to mention Sean Payton and Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett in the same sentence. But what I'm saying is that he's walked into a perfect storm because now he could just sit back and delegate.
Yeah.
The onus is not all the way on him. But although if they don't make it far in the playoff, he going to get the boot, unfortunately.
Well, Sean Payton did have those 3 years of 7-9 in a row.
Yeah, 3 years of 7-9 in a row. So that's what I'm talking about, Cowboy Nation. Yeah. I know I'm not putting Sean Payton and Jason Garrett in the same window because I do know that I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for that. But what I'm saying is that the 7-9, 7-9, and 7-9, it's just the fact that they play in New Orleans and not Cowboy land.
Yeah.
Why he don't get those hatreds, you know.
Well,
the media.
But, you know, we've had as good as we've done these first three games. You know, in the first quarter of some of these games, we had some people already saying bench Dak Prescott. You know that, right?
True.
Man, Dak looks like garbage. Bench the guy. It's the first quarter. So, you know, with Cowboy land, you know, you can still win and still get a whole lot of crap.
Yeah. I mean, we a weird type of fan base, man. When you go to the stadium, it's quiet. You know, everybody want to get wine and cheese and crackers. You see, it's not like the other stadiums that you go to.
Somebody was Marty B was asking about what the hell is going on with Randy Gregory. I wish I knew what was going on with Randy Gregory because I don't think he's actually applied for reinstatement. I'm wondering if there's some issues that he's worried about on there. But I had not heard that he had gone back in. And you look at some of the other guys that have been reinstated and stuff, you kind of say, if that guy got back in, you know, how come Randy Gregory isn't? So I don't think he's been reinstated. Have you heard anything about him?
People said that on, I think 105.3 The Fan and also Talking Cowboys, that he put his paperwork in. But I'm looking at it like, when? Because according to the collective bargain agreement, they have to make a ruling. Not they shall make a ruling. They have to make a ruling within 60 days when he put his paperwork in. And to me personally, it's been long ago. 60 days been long ago. So I'm thinking that, you know, whatever going on, either the NFL is sweeping this under the rug until they find out what they're going to do with the weed and these sorts of things as it relates to, I guess, bipolarism or whatever he got, a mental condition, whatever it is. I'm thinking that they're trying to play the political role, and also they just don't like the Cowboys for the reason why he's not out there on the field.
Right. Well, we have actually been in a half an hour of bonus time here, and I've actually got to get ready to get out of here. But Law Nation, tell everybody, listen, there's a lot of great YouTubers out there. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't like what I do, and that's cool. I'm not everybody's flavor and stuff like that, but there's a lot of great YouTubers out there that are putting in the work and stuff. Law Nation is one of them. My man Vosh is one. You got to go troll Philly 500. He's actually a great character and stuff. He is funny as hell, and you'll enjoy kind of giving him a hard way to go. But Law, tell everybody all of the this guy's everywhere. He is literally everywhere. Tell everybody where to find you.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. First, you just go to Google and type in LAW Nation. You should see my face or logo. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, under that same handle. And I got 2 YouTube pages, believe it or not, LAW Nation. And I really, really, really appreciate you all. I don't like the Cowboys at all. I love them. You know, and I used to cry when we lose. I used to punch holes in the wall. I used to get mad and rent my clothes around, you see. But as we mature in life, we just talk and we just love to find that we got other people that have the same passion, you see, like you, Mark. And it's a wonderful thing when I look on Instagram and I see you and your son out there. Man, I said, man, that's got to be a wonderful feeling, Mark, to have your son there, and y'all can go to the game together, and y'all can watch all of those things, and cherish that moment. Tell your son to cherish that moment, because life is not promised to us. And I just like to say, Cowboy Nation, I really appreciate you all, and Mark, I really thank you for having me on this wonderful, beautiful platform.
You help make the show and stuff, man. But I tell you what, it's funny because I have so many people that will say that he's not really a Cowboy fan and blah 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 blah. It was kind of funny because Facebook is always popping up with throwback posts and stuff. So I had 2 posts that came up this week, and it was funny because the first one was a picture of my wife wearing a Cowboy shirt from 8 years ago, and the caption was, "I'm trying to convince her to be a Cowboy fan and stuff." And so I reposted that. And the second one that came up was actually from 8 years ago with me and my son actually at AT&T for a game. I was a little bit more rounder back then, but it was right after we had gotten our first stone that's actually at AT&T. Right after the stadium opened up. So it's like, yeah, I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan for a long time. But make sure you subscribe and check out my man Law Nation. He puts in the work, like I said, like all these other great YouTubers and things. You may not like me and all that. Actually, I think the people who don't like me actually come on and comment more. They let me know they don't like me. And that's all good. Everybody's allowed to say what they want to say within reason. As Joseph Heatherly says, you can talk trash, but don't cuss, because we do have some young people watching. So hopefully Sunday night, we'll be live streaming and watching a victory for our Dallas Cowboys. And win, lose, or draw, I'm going to be here. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Be safe out there. And it is actually time for us to turn off the lights, because this party's over.
Turn them off.
The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over, and tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.